Welcome to CBP Talks, the official podcast of U.S. Customs and Border Protection. This episode features a discussion about CBP's Veteran Support Program, which supports the unique needs of veterans, current reservists, National Guardsmen, and their family members. My name is Rhonda Lawson, Acting Branch Chief for CBP's Office of Public Affairs, and I will be your moderator for today. And I'm excited to be discussing the available resources, benefits, and guidance of CBP's VSP. Joining me is National Program Manager of CBP's Veteran Support Program, Wesley Little. Thank you for joining me today.
Thank you very much for having me.
Awesome. Now, I've got to tell you that I am a 23-year veteran of the U.S. Army, so I see a lot of value in the Veteran Support Program. So I just want to personally thank you for all that you're doing for this program. Would you mind talking a little bit about it and why it's here?
Absolutely. Well, first, let me say thank you very much for your service.
Thank you.
Thank you for you continuing to serve. 23 years in the Army is no small feat.
Very true. Very true.
So, in essence, CBP Veteran Support Program focus on what I call the 5 pillars of veteran equities or veteran career life cycle, which is the recruitment, the training, the sustainment, the support, and the retention of veterans within CBP's workforce. The idea or the concept is that veterans who are entering this agency need very specific and targeted support to deal with all aspects of their military versus their nexus between their CBP career. When they onboard into this organization, they're onboarding into a agency that offers a ton of benefits to them, right? Disabled veteran leave, military buyback, all of these various accommodating features, these non-competitive eligibilities that they can qualify for, but they need to know how to go about obtaining them. There's benefits that they need to apply for. There's documents that they need to submit. And oftentimes what we have found is that veterans who enter an organization with the same mindset or expectation that they entered with the military, which is things are going to be outlined for me, things are going to be provided, I'm going to be guided on this, and they enter an organization that does not provide that, they find it very difficult to navigate those systems. And it is very difficult to navigate. The application process can be cumbersome. The document collection can be a bit tiresome, and oftentimes it's documentation that may not necessarily have or did not keep, or in between PCS moves they lost. And so the VSP is here to kind of help them identify how to capture those documents, work with DoD partners to help them regain access to any documentation they may have lost, help them fill out these benefit application packages, and that's just within CBP. Separate from that, we've got our VA benefits, our state and local benefits. Oftentimes our CBP personnel who are coming in as veterans, they don't know that they qualify for all these VA benefits, right? Whether or not it be pension benefits or if it would be training, on-the-job training benefits, Chapter 31 or Chapter 33, the Skill Bridge program, the Post 9/11 program, Montgomery GI Bill education benefits. So they're not utilizing these benefits and they're expiring. They all have an expiration date. And these veterans go throughout their career not using them and then find out later on, hey, look, I had access to that, but now I don't qualify because the actual benefit expired. Or state level benefits. Individuals don't know about that, like, for instance, in the state of Virginia, where if you're a 90% or more disabled veteran, your child can go to a in-state school for free. The state will cover that tuition. Veterans don't know that. And so what the VSP does is identifies where our veteran workforce is, works with our state partners and works with our federal partners to identify what benefits are available to them, and then aggregate all of that data and provide it in a streamlined way to our veterans. So our veterans are made aware of what's available to not only them, but their families. When it comes to health and wellness, right? Having access to our VA vet centers who provide on-the-spot social work counseling to our veterans who have combat experience, right? So that they're able to access that on a routine basis. It's 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. As needed, they can go and see a counselor. The vet centers are open all the time. So getting our vet centers and our CBP veterans engaged together so they can build those bridges. Bridging gaps at the southwest border. Right now, we have our remote veterans who are working in these areas where they're geographically displaced from VA vet centers. So, and oftentimes, we have veterans who are on the VHA system who don't know, or we have other veterans who may only use the VHA system, which is Veterans Health Administration, and forego using CBP's healthcare that they provide because they are only required to carry one healthcare. So they're using this healthcare, but they don't have actual access to the medical facilities because they're so far away from any of those regional medical centers. So we've partnered with the VA to get the regional medical centers to provide sequestered time so that our veterans can get there. The local sectors and ports of entry are providing opportunities for the veterans to get to these medical appointments. We've got on-the-spot clinicians coming to the sectors and the ports of entry to provide on-the-spot counseling, establishing community access points, bringing out the mobile health vans to the actual sectors and ports of entry so that our veterans are not having to try to find a way or foregoing their medical and mental health care at all, right?
So I'm sure that there's a veteran who's listening right now who didn't realize that all of these benefits and resources were available, and they may be saying, what can I do to get started?
Yep. So you can reach out to a VSP field coordinator in your local area or a VSP support member. You can also email cbpvsp@cbp.dhs.gov, or you can go to the CBP Net SharePoint site for the Veteran Support Program under the Workforce Care Division. For our women veterans, we have a women veterans group that is specifically for the equities when it comes to women's veterans health care, when it comes to issues of revolving trauma or other incidents from women veterans in the military. It's a peer support network designed for women, ran by our women veterans within this agency to help provide a peer network of support to our women vets. We have our CBP Pride Network for our veterans who fall within the LGBTQIA+ community, where it provides, DHS has been a huge proponent of the Pride groups. We have a bunch of employee associations with that. But what people don't know is that the VA is currently helping our Pride veterans gain access to upgraded discharges because of the Don't Ask, Don't Tell policy, which was later repealed. They were often discharged under general discharges. So we have veterans within this agency who have general discharges who can now get upgraded discharges. So we're helping facilitate that. The VA also provides the LGBTQI+ veteran outreach centers. We're working with the veteran outreach centers to connect with those. And then we have our VSP caretaker, military spouse, and survivor groups. What that is our caretakers, which we have quite a few in this agency, are full-time employees, but also full-time caretakers of disabled veterans who are unable to work. Military spouses who have to move and work with their service member. They're required to leave. And so this agency has been very good about retaining those military spouses. When their spouse or their partner has to ETS somewhere else, the agency is finding ways to accommodate that ETS so that we're not losing that historical knowledge base, losing that good employee. And our survivors, we have our Gold Star families within CBP, providing support to our Gold Star families, making sure for those who don't know, Gold Star families, family members of servicemen who have been killed in action, making sure that they're provided support, peer support, networking, counseling. We've been partnering with the Red Cross Caretaker and Gold Star Family Support Network so that they have an opportunity to engage and receive that peer support and counseling services and mental health and resilience opportunities.
It sounds like the attraction of this program is more than just being a part of a group of people who have a similar background, such as myself. For instance, I served in the Army, and I want to be around other people who served in the military. It's much more than that.
That is correct. The idea is that veterans don't serve in a silo. So veterans and their family members all have benefit equity within the various state and federal benefit organizations. We have to find a way to ensure that while our workforce is doing the mission and affecting that mission for CBP, that we're providing them the network of support, resiliency, services, benefit processes that they need to ensure longevity. It's the sum of the small parts that equal the whole. And if we're taking care of the individual veteran, then our workforce is stronger. So by ensuring that not only the veteran, but their family members have access to those benefits, we're ensuring that the home life is good. We're ensuring that the families are healthy. And then when the families are healthy, the employees are healthy. It's unfortunate, but it's unfortunate because we don't want to lose any veterans, right? Whether it be by attrition, whether the veterans are leaving, or whether it be through death. But we are here even in that death. I've had the great honor of serving and supporting the family members of a few of our veterans who have passed away within this agency. And we have the Veterans Survivor Support Group. And that has really been a huge mission. And I think it's something that speaks volumes to what this agency's focus is, which is really seeing these veterans through from the beginning to the end of their career, whatever that may look like. And that has included everything from negotiating the memorial services, full honors for our veterans, getting the flags from the U.S. Postal Service supposed to be provided at no cost, everything down to ensuring that the family members are gaining access to their DIC credits, they're gaining access to the state level benefits, they're gaining access to veteran funeral offices, funeral homes, negotiating the memorials. All of these things that are being done for our vets is so important. This is a community within a community. And I think that's the biggest difference. That's what sets these veterans apart within CBP. All CBP employees are important. They all need resiliency. They all need support. But for our veterans, because of the nexus and the trauma and the experiences that they bring from the military and the requirements and the needs that they have from that, we have to ensure that we've built an ecosphere of support for them particularly.
The VSP has, I believe, been a big part of why CBP has consistently been among the top 5, actually, of companies that are great for veterans.
So I would say that our National Recruitment Division does an excellent job with outreach to our veterans at the installations and across the nation. Within that, we have our Veterans Employment Program Manager who works tirelessly to do outreach to our veterans across the nation. That being said, the attraction to this agency is kind of twofold. We have our active VPM, we have our active National Recruitment Division, but in addition to that, as kind of that backbone of support when the veteran enters, we have the VSP. CBP is the only functional agency within the federal workforce that has this level of a veteran support program that's centralized at a headquarters level that does the things that we do, and we continue to grow. And as we continue to grow, it empowers our VPM and the National Recruitment Division to specifically reach out more to those veterans and speak to that. Veterans will always take advantage of an opportunity where they can see, I will be employed and I will be taken care of. It's a very simple calculus. And between the two concerted efforts focused on our vets, we are able to encourage and capture more veterans transitioning out of service. We're able to provide some more support when they're at these academies. We're able to provide more support when they're in the field. And ultimately, that equates to retention. And that's the ultimate goal. Recruit them and then retain them.
So we talked earlier about a veteran who may not have realized all of the benefits of this program and they would like to get started. And you mentioned how they could get involved. But what about someone who has not served in the military, who sees the value of VSP and would like to support it in some way?
Absolutely. So we have what's called our veteran support members as the program. We recognize that not everybody was able to serve, right? There could be any number of medical conditions or other considerations that would discourage or make a person ineligible to serve in that capacity, but they're still serving their nation, working for CBP. And in respect and honor of that, we created that position, recognizing that our veterans will benefit from the knowledge, skills, abilities, and professional experience of those individuals who may not have been serving in the military, but have spent an extensive amount of time in the federal workforce. We want to make sure that they have an opportunity to participate in supporting our veterans. So our veteran support members work with and alongside our veteran support field coordinators in the field. They are our significant population. They are able to do more outreach. Oftentimes we may have 1 or 2 field coordinators, but there's no limit on the number of VSMs that we can have or that we want, right? We want as much support as we can. You have to keep in mind, we have over 19,000 veterans. We have a significant population of military spouses, significant population of caregivers within this agency. And so if there's a place that you feel that you can serve, or you have skill sets or knowledge to provide equity in a certain group, we want to bring you aboard. We want to get that support.
And that includes family members, maybe a spouse who maybe didn't serve, but their spouse served, and so they want to be a part of the program as well.
That would be our military spouses, and absolutely. Military spouses, again, are the backbone of any veteran. You ask, and I've used this example before, you want to know the importance of a family for a veteran, have that veteran come home and being able to not find their family.
Yes.
And then you'll see the big difference in how they perform and what they're like at work. Veterans need their families. And so therefore, we serve our veterans in CBP. We are their family for those who don't have a family. And for those who do, we support them and their family.
So what's next for the Veteran Support Program? You've made a lot of strides over the years, but it sounds like there's still more that you want to do.
Yeah. So our goal is to establish long-term partnerships with our federal and state partners to ensure that our veterans are consistently receiving support in the field. This comes down to the importance of the individual veteran. We want to make sure that each veteran is receiving the support that they need so that they can be healthy, so the families can be healthy, so this workforce can be healthy. I want this program, obviously, to outlast any of us who are currently serving. This is something that's supposed to span the lifespan of CBP, not those who are currently running the program. And so my goal is to ensure that we have continuity within our program from the top down, that our field coordinators are equipped with the knowledge that they need to affect this program and then are able to educate upcoming field coordinators on what needs to be done to sustain operations. We want to make a sustainable program. And as we do that, it's going to require a lot of partnering with our organizations who have these benefit packages within them and working towards a meaningful way to streamline that support and service.
Wonderful. Well, I want to thank you so much for being here today and talking about the Veteran Support Program, and thank you and the program for all that you're doing for our veterans here at U.S. Customs and Border Protection.
It has truly been my honor.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you all of you for listening today. My name is Rhonda Lawson. I'm the Acting Branch Chief of CBP's Office of Public Affairs Media Division. And we were just talking with Wesley Little, the National Program Manager for CBP's Veteran Support Program. Thank you so much for joining us today. And thank you for listening to CBP Talks, the official podcast of U.S. Customs and Border Protection. Make sure to subscribe and follow on the podcast of your choice. You can also listen to all of our episodes at cbp.gov.podcasts.